Hello, my name is Collection Connoisseur. I collect digital thingamabobs and video games. Today I'm playing Monster Train. Last time, I managed to not quite master a card. Got pretty far in a good run. We didn't master one of the two cards we have left to master. So this time I'm really focused on mastering a card. I'm choosing Wurmkin as my primary to do so. Now, with Wurmkin as the primary, I really want to play as the Spine Chief, because I feel like I haven't played with the Spine Chief very much, and I feel like I have played with Echo Right recently. That may or may not be true, but that's how I feel. So, I want to play with the Spine Chief, and I've chosen the Melting Remnant as our secondary, because of the things that you don't have a crown in, Melting Remnant is one of them. Let's get started. Oh, and I chose primitive molds because I think primitive molds would be interesting rather than drafts, or dregs, I mean. Alright, so we've got Bogfly, which I tend not to like, drafts, which are hard to use sometimes, and Revenge of the Damned, which can be very good, maybe. Alright, Seraph the Chaste removes buffs and debuffs. That doesn't affect multi-strike. It does affect things like Reap, however, which we might go heavily down, depends on what our champion is. We could go heavily down Reap, because we could go the Decayer, which I kind of want to try. I want to try going down the Decayer, even though, you know, this is not going to work against Seraph. And Dun Echo is kind of excellent to go down a more inspiring route of cards. So we'll choose that one. +3 magic power or conscription notice. Both of those I find to be very small things. The +3 magic power, it affects Revenge of the Damned, I guess. I find conscription notice to be often questionable, so I'm going to take Tempered Talisman and move on. So we will turn on unit drafts because we do want to find something to master. Otherwise I'm going to restart the run if we don't find one of those. And we want to play Spine Chief at the bottom, because now every time we inspire, which happens when we do this, and it also happens when we do this. Actually, since you're going to die anyway, I guess we want to... Actually, no, we only inspire if we do it this way. I want to inspire, because I want you to die from mainly the Reap, as it were. I should play a Train Steward in front. Right? Maybe not, because then you would have... The next one of these would have damage shield. But I guess that's going to happen anyway. Let's not worry about it too much. And I do want the Train Steward to die so I can bring them back. With primitive molds that we drew this turn, unfortunately. Well, I want to do Fracture at the bottom. As long as we do something near the top where you are, we will win. I think I'm going to play the Train Steward at the top, even though this gives Ember Drain for the next turn. So we're going to play Fracture twice. Let's play a Fracture on you. And playing a Fracture again is going to give 2 Reap to you, which will be not enough to kill you, so I want to Fracture you specifically. Alright, great. I think we might be doing just fine in this battle. And there's a draft that we're going to play in order to primitive mold a future turn. So I want to play a primitive mold up here so that you get hit by that. There we go. We got a Train Steward that I would like to play here, so that you get damaged enough that this one charged Echo will also kill you. And then I want to play a Draft Nabogfly down here. Doesn't matter the order, because the draft is going to die anyway. Oh no! You don't die because you get you get a damage shield from killing him. Right. Well, that's unfortunate. We could play a draft up there, which would work. I am going to play a primitive mold here. We got the draft here, which is nice, because we could play that right here. And now a lot of damage is being dealt to you. I think I am going to play the draft up here, so that you both die, and this one dies. And then if we fracture the boss, I think we win. Oh, okay, we win. Great. Alright, so far no damage, I like that. Ooh, Echo Transfer. I like Echo Transfer, especially infused. We can have a Molten Encasement. Seems kind of nice. We could put another draft in the deck, which is, I mean, questionable at best. We've got a lot of units that kind of stick in our dead pile to be brought back. I'm gonna get the Molten Encasement. Alright, nothing yet to Divinity Master, but I do really like that Keeper of Echoes, because we're going with an Inspire type deck anyway. Alright, we've got to go this way, in hopes to Divinity Master a Wurmkin unit. Moonstone and Seekstone. We don't really have a Seekstone thing that I care about yet. I mean, it's nice to play Echo Transfer the first turn, but we can't guarantee it, because it needs an Echo already. Spell Chain. Also, I kind of like on Echo Transfer, but I'm not sure. Stackstone, we don't care about. And then Power Stone we do like. We do like the Power Stone. Ember Drain we could put on probably a Primitive Mold. I think we're going to keep the Primitive Molds. Okay. Let's take this and see if that changes anything. Well, we didn't get anything to Divinity Master, which is unfortunate. We did get another thing that could add Reap to enemy units. I don't think we're going to take these. I think we're going to skip them and get something else to sacrifice or use. So Divine Temple, we are only thinking about a Twin Stone. And I think I'll leave it for now. Here we're thinking about a Power Stone on Revenge of the Damned, and an Ember Stone on a Primitive Mold. And then let's remove a Train Steward. The less Train Stewards in the deck, the better we are at getting back what we want. Okay, I don't think that helped us a whole lot, but I think we're playing fine just now. Mark of Invasion doesn't seem too bad. Doesn't seem too bad. How bad is it? I mean, it honestly could be kind of bad. We would put our champion at the top. I'm going to turn it on for the money. And let's see how bad it is. So, we could play a Bogfly and have it die to save 5 health on one of our other things, like the Keeper of Echoes. We could play the Spine Chief in the center. Take a lot of the damage this turn, but kill all of those. I think I'm going to do that. And we're going to play the Primitive Mold here. And then the Keeper of Echoes is going to go at the top after playing the Bogfly first, so that it gets the Ember Drain. And we fracture one of these at the top so that we kill 2 of them. Okay, so we're taking 3 damage because we took the trial so far. We did get our Sinner's Burden. That's going to be sad this time because we kind of were forced to play in the center. With the trial, anyway. As long as we play one of these fractures here, those back 2 die. And we can't really play a fracture up here, so might as well also play it here. We could play the draft here as well. I want to remove a Sinner's Burden, but I could also fracture here to just get rid of the next Sinner's Burden, which seems more important. Now, if we put a Bogfly at the top, it will die, which is not so bad. No, it doesn't die. Sorry. If it's not going to die, we might want to put a Train Steward up there instead, and the Bogfly here. Although if we're playing something, I guess we're going to play a Primitive Mold in the center. And we got a draft, which I don't mind playing here. It burns out in 2 turns, but I'm happy with it dealing the damage before it does. Also, we could put it in front to take the 2 damage. And then you need to take 30 more damage, which we might be able to do. We play the Train Steward up here. We play the Bogfly up there, I think. This Molten Encasement might come next turn, which would be the wrong time for it. Oh well. Unless we save the space for it? No. Let's play the Bogfly at the top. In the back. And play the Echo Transfer on you, which will also make it so that you guys have more health. And then a Train Steward at the bottom? No, because I don't want it to be in my dead pile. Alright. So we could play the Molten Encasement at the bottom. At least it would die and we could Primitive Mold it a different turn. We can Primitive Mold a Bogfly this turn. Which we might do. Alright. We're going to play the Molten Encasement down here. That's just so that it dies. And then I want to play a Fracture on one of them so that we draw more cards next turn, basically. Yeah. Okay, so we're only having 1 card that we don't want in our hand next turn. 1 Sinner's Burden, that is. So, you can kill that one, or you could deal 36 damage to this one. I mean, we're going to kill that one anyway, so maybe we don't care, it's just that we get the Slay trigger. How much do we care about the Slay trigger? Probably not as much as we might. Let's play the Primitive Mold. Excellent. We do want that. And then we could play another Primitive Mold and just not play the thing, which is valuable, actually. Let's do that. Do I want to do it here to give you more Reap? I do. And then Revenge of the Damned. We could give you more Reap, or we could just deal you 36 damage. If we gave you more Reap, you would get 2 more Reap. Is that better than 36 damage? I don't think so. Let's do the 36 damage. Okay, now we just play a Fracture and a Fracture, and we're done. Alright, we got the 3 damage solely because of the trial, which netted us 75 gold, so I think it was very useful. You know, Bounding Echoes is pretty good in a deck that relies heavily on Infused. Just one, though. So we could take the Entombed Explosive or the Molten Encasement. The Molten Encasement would make it so that if we sacrifice this one to the other one, then we'd have one that gives Stealth 4, which is nice. I think I'll do that. And we've got to go this way, really hoping to see a card that we can Divinity Master. Let's look there first. We found one. Alright, Bog Deep Cocoon. We may have trouble hatching you. And you take up a lot of space. We might not play the Bog Deep Cocoon, actually. We might not. We might still, though, depending. Ooh. 25 Pyre health is just a lot, though, so I'm going to just pay the 5 and get a little bit. And then friendly units gain an extinguish effect. I like that. Decayed Decoy is really nice on everything except for Seraph and the Last Divinity. But I'm thinking that the bosses are not going to be as much of a problem as everything else going up the train, and this helps with everything going up the train. So I think I'm taking it. Even though I like the mold braces too. Yeah. Combustible Wax is interesting. What about Echo Seedling? We would get Bounding Echoes back? That's the only consume card that we have. I don't know if we want multiple Bounding Echoes, necessarily. It would give 2 more Inspires on the turn that we play it. Or we could get 3 more Burnout to units. Which is good for the drafts, if the drafts end up being good. Let's do Combustible Wax. I think it opens up a lot for us. Alright, Daedalus the Professor. Constructed explosives have damage shield. That is annoying. Especially because stealth doesn't avoid it. Alright, I do kind of want the Spine Chief at the bottom. So we're going to do the Spine Chief at the bottom. The Keeper of the Echoes we want at the top. Even though it does give us Ember Drain this turn. And then we could play Primitive Mold to add Reap. Or we could play a Draft to just deal 20 damage to the front one. And, you know, eventually die. Eventually. I don't know. Kind of want to defeat that one, because I think you might be good enough to defeat this one by the time he gets up there. Let's do this. Alright, that kills the middle one, and it makes it so that you've got 3 Reap, so we could potentially kill you in the future. Alright, Bog Deep Cocoon we're ignoring. We're going to play the Draft in front at the top, so that it dies. Yeah, Draft in front, it dies, which means Primitive Molds are better for us. And then, do I want a Train Steward up there too? If we put the Train Steward up there, it does mean that the Train Steward is going to get stronger, but it also means that we've got a sad little Train Steward up there. I think I'm going to play the Train Steward in the center. Is that better than just playing Primitive Mold? No. Primitive Mold, getting nothing back was better. Alright. When I said that one up there would be able to deal with this one by the time it got up there, I was hoping for something more than what we got so far. Yeah, definitely hoping for something more. If we play the Molten Encasement... Let's see here. Let's play the Bounding Echoes. I am going to do it up here. Right? Actually, there's a Draft there that we can get back. So if we primitive mold. We need to get the reap on you. Well, we can't affect your reap. Let's do a primitive mold up here. I'm thinking. Primitive mold up here. And then we play Bounding Echoes. Yeah, then we play Bounding Echoes. We play the Bounding Echoes at the bottom? Yes, we play the Bounding Echoes at the bottom. Then we play the Molten Encasement and the Draft up here. We want to play the Molten Encasement last because we do actually want it to die. Oh no, but you're going to explode. Which means that it will die, even though it gains some health. Okay. But I don't care. Well, it removes 5 damage from you if we play it first, right? It also gets the Ember Drink if we play it first. No, because your Inspire did not give you health. Okay. Okay, well everything's dying at the top that we want to die. You're just getting 5 health, which we didn't actually want. Then we can play a Train Steward at the bottom, so it takes the damage. And it causes more reap on all of those. And then a Train Steward in the center, because why not? Sure. It gets it out of the deck, but it does put it in the consume pile, and both places are kind of bad for Train Stewards right now. Okay, we have an Echo Transfer, which I do want to play at the top. Do we want to play it on our Burnout unit? Probably not, because you burn out. Probably not because you burn out. Alright, so let's play the Echo Transfer here. Should we play a Bogfly first? Should we play a Primitive Mold first? Primitive Mold. Molten Encasement. Alright, we are going to get Ember Drain for this one. That's okay. Ember Drain. Then we play the Bogfly. And then we play Echo Transfer. I guess we could play it on the Bogfly. Play it on the Bogfly. Alright, and then we've got some Fractures. I want to play those down here. Or in the middle on the boss. I think the middle on the boss is not that important right now, so let's just play them here. And we're playing on you, definitely. And then you're already dying, so let's also play a Fracture at the top to make all of these better. Alright. We were very lucky to get that back, because we've got Train Stewards in that dead pile right now. Revenge of the Damned could kill this one. That's not bad. Bogfly can go in front down here to take the damage. I'll do that. So, I'm thinking about playing Revenge of the Damned at the top to defeat this, so we don't take 10 damage here. And then Fracture, we want to play on the bottom so that this one dies. Great. So our champion doesn't have a whole lot of life left, but that's okay, because all the champion is there for is to add more reap to the boss, really. So, ooh, we can do the Molten Encasement at the bottom as well. Why not? Gives us another Molten Encasement in the dead pile to bring back. And then a Fracture. A Fracture. Putting Echo Transfer on you doesn't do that much, honestly. Yeah, let's do it at the top. And put it on this back Bogfly. How about that? The Bogfly is actually pretty strong. We could play the Bogkeep Cocoon. Well, I don't think we will. let's play these up here. But we'll play these things here. The Bogfly, the Train Steward, and the Fracture. And I'm pretty positive we win at the top. Our Bogfly does have 57 attack. Alright, we win at the top. Wickless Recruitment. Is that good? I'm not sure. Wurmkin Spike is nice. How good is Unearthed Remains? See, I don't think we need Wickless Recruitment as much because of Combustible Wax, but Combustible Wax also makes it so that we're likely to draw Wickless Recruitment by the time we would want it. And I haven't really played with Wickless Recruitment very much, which kind of makes me want to play with it more. I'm thinking that the drafts will be much, much better in this deck than I normally think of them. Sure, it also has the debuff effects thing, which is nice. So we could get a Keeper of Echoes to sacrifice to our Keeper of Echoes. I like that. And then we certainly want Herzl's Compound, right? I think so, because I think we're going to get Ember primarily with Ember Stones. I think. Okay, I do want to go to the right. Basically, all three of these are better for me than those. And we haven't sacrificed at all yet. We only get 2 times left to sacrifice. We had one at the very beginning that we didn't use. And there's 2 more times we could sacrifice units. We're going to use both of those. Okay. It's good to note. Let's look in here. Immortal Stone is excellent on a Molten Encasement. Ooh, we're probably going to do that. Unstable Vortex is way too easy. Let's just start there. Let's remove Train Stewards. Now, thinking about my champion upgrade. The Decayer 2 applies more Reap and has a whole lot more life. Yeah, I like that more than the Corruptor. And then we're going to look in here, but the thing is, I only get to sacrifice twice. And I think we already know that we're going to sacrifice a Keeper of Echoes, and we're going to sacrifice a Molten Encasement to another Molten Encasement. So if we know that, then we probably don't want any more units, unless this just jumps out at me as a great unit, which it did not, so we're going to skip the money. Both of them would have just given me money anyway. Alright, Immortal Stone. We put that on the Molten Encasement. Both of them are infused, so it doesn't matter which one. I'm thinking we put a Strength Stone on a draft. Maybe even a Battle Stone on a draft. That would cost 50. I do want to re-roll here as well. But we're going to make one of the drafts good. I think this is how we're going to make one of the drafts good. Alright. So we re-roll. Large Stone is not the one that I want, particularly. I mean, it's great. It's great on a draft, for example. It's just that having more space taken up is also a little bit painful. We have to take it, though. It's too good. I think we're going to put it on the Keeper of Echoes. Which does mean that the Keeper of Echoes takes up more space and therefore can have less units with it. Not my favorite bit right there, but we are going to do it. And then we could put a strength stone. Was there a heart stone? Do we care? It would go on that Keeper of Echoes, of course. But I think we're going to put a strength stone on the other draft. And I think we're keeping the drafts and not the bogflies. I think that's my overall plan. The drafts, not the bogflies. The fact that the drafts have very little health is bad. Maybe we should actually put... Maybe the better thing to put on this one is a heartstone? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. And then we spent all of our money. We could get 100 more right now, which means we could put the strength stone on that draft too. And it might actually be worth it. It might be. But we could wait until we get here, and I'm probably going to go to that Merchant of Steel. Yeah, let's wait. Aggressive Amulet, I do not want to turn on. Now, Spine Chief at the bottom. This actually kills one, which is kind of cool. So, kill one. Oop, we have to play Fracture first. Fracture on one of them. Kill the other one. And then you're already dying. I'm going to play Fracture on you just so that we have another Echo up there. Now, a couple neat things here. I think I'm going to play... I could play this draft here to kill the Collector. I'm going to put a Keeper of Echoes at the top. And I don't even want it to be this one, do I? Right, we've got multiple Keeper of Echoes. If we have multiple Keeper of Echoes, maybe we want to put both of them at the top, but they would take up the entire floor if I did that. Okay, never mind. We're going to have a Keeper of Echoes in the middle and the top. And this one's the one that's in the middle. The Molten Encasement seems fine at the bottom. It just dies and then comes back, which is what we want, basically. And then we could play a Primitive Mold so that more things get what is it called? Reap at the bottom. Bogfly. I guess we could play a Bogfly here. Sure. Okay. Everything has died at the bottom so far, which is kind of nice. So this is the turn that we're playing the Keeper of Echoes at the top. And then we play the Molten Encasement at the bottom. Again. And then those guys aren't dying this turn, which is very sad. I think we're going to play this Bogfly in the center. So, we've got a Wickless Recruitment, which we could play at the top after putting the Molten Encasement up there. That's an option, because it would remove the Ember Drain from it. Kind of like doing that. You are all stealthy, you don't need it as much as these people do. So we'll play this one here. We don't really need the Bounding Echoes, because everything is infused. But there's so many things left in our deck that are infused that I think I'm going to play it down here anyway, just to put on the Reap. Then you go here. We play Wickless Recruitment on you. And then Echo Transfer we could play on a variety of guys. I think I'm going to play it just on the top one. Okay. This one is going fine. Just fine. there's our draft that we want to put at the top. So let's do that. One fits in the middle, one fits at the top, but the one fits at the top without playing this Molten Encasement, which is nice. So we'll play this right here. And then play the Molten Encasement in the middle where it dies. Play a Primitive Mold at the top. I don't really need to play Fracture much. Just need to play Primitive Mold. And, oh, I thought we were actually getting something back. Okay. Should have played Fracture. So, you guys are dying at the top. No problems at all. We could play a Primitive Mold at the bottom. We could play a Molten Encasement at the bottom, which seems fine. Let's play this one at the bottom. No, we should play this one, because we get it back, right? I don't know a reason to play one over the other at the bottom, actually. Because we get this one back every time. So we should just play this one, probably. And then Fracture on the boss. Oh man. We're not quite winning on that floor. Let's play the Echo Transfer up here. Oh, let's play this Molten Encasement here. Right. Forgot that there was enemies up there that could kill it. We did get the self-mutilation. How sad. We might get more. Yes, we got 3 self-mutilations. How sad. We probably just want to play those, especially because we're already winning. Yeah. Alright, nice clean battle actually. Returned Soul, Revenge of the Damned. Revenge of the Damned, we already have one. How much do we want more? We kind of do want more things that can kill things, actually. I kind of want spell damage stuff so that we could defeat things that would deal like 75 damage to my champion in one hit, basically. So I am going to get another Revenge of the Damned. But I would prefer something else. Ooh, Crushing Demise. Can we use it, though? Well, yes, because even though we used all 3 floors that time, we're going to sacrifice a Keeper of Echoes to a Keeper of Echoes. And so we're ending up going to use 2 floors, primarily. So we can take a Crushing Demise. It's just we're not going to play it on the floor where we have our own guys. I want to go to the Merchant of Magic. If we went this way, we could probably not afford a trinket. And there are some Merchant of Magic things that would be really nice. So, peek in here. Extreme Stone is quite nice. We're almost certainly going to take that. Merchant of Magic, Keepstone. Ooh, what do we put a Keepstone on? I have no idea. Could be Echo Transfer. Echo Transfer could have a Keepstone and that would be perfectly fine. Thinking about that. Now let's see what the Concealed Caverns has for us. A Dog Made of Bone, a way to purge a card. Let's purge a card. Here's a Train Steward to chew on. Goodbye, Bone Dog. Next, we will take... We're going to do one of the sacrifices, the Engage packs. I think the Engage pack that we want the most right now is get rid of the second Keeper of Echoes. So second Keeper of Echoes goes, and goes on the first Keeper of Echoes. Great. Now, Extreme Stone. I think I'm going to put that on this one. And then if we find a True Stone in the next one, I might put it on the first one. Yeah, something like that. I want to make both of them usable. I mean, we haven't done this yet. Keepstone, I think, goes on Echo Transfer. I would happily do that, and then we have no more money. So let's move on. Alright, we do have a higher threat level than we did before, and I do not want armor 15 on enemy units. Nope. We're gonna do a low money run, basically, because I kind of don't want to turn on the trials much. Well, this looks like a pretty good first hand. Let's put the Keeper of Echoes up here. Let's put a Molten Encasement at the bottom, which will cause all of them to die. Alright, good first turn. Now you want to have one of the drafts next to you, and you want to have the other one. So you're getting the other one right now. Yeah, that's what's happening. You're getting the other draft. I call this one the other one. We are going to give you an Echo Transfer. And we do get to keep that for next turn. I'm going to play the Primitive Mold here, because I really want that one to get a fair amount of Reap. And then the Molten Encasement goes down here again, to give you guys lots of stealth. And we've got one more Ember. We could do 36 damage to the back one, or we could give it more Reap. I kind of want to give it more Reap, honestly. Alright, let's do that. It did 26 more damage, giving it more Reap right there. And it might give it significantly more, maybe. Ooh, the Crushing Demise will kill it? Alright. There we go. It's gone. Primitive Mold will play up here. And then I'm thinking we play this one at the top. And then play the Wickless Recruitment. And then the Echo Transfer all at the top. And we just play a Primitive Mold at the bottom. Yeah, I like that. So, this goes here. We play Wickless Recruitment on you. We play Echo Transfer on you. And then we play a Primitive Mold at the bottom to kill all those back ones. And then you will only be at 5 health. So if we had one more Echo in the center, you would die. Well, I'm surprised that we haven't gotten this yet. I've been kind of waiting on that. Luckily, you're not dying this round. I sort of want to play Echo Transfer on you. Oh, we've got this one. Let's play the Echo Transfer on that one. Unfortunately, we actually want guys to get to the top so they can kill this one. So I'm not going to do anything to kill that one. I am going to do things down here, specifically Fracture. Because we can't do that helpfully at the top. Fracture. And if we fracture, do we kill all of them? Oh my. Alright. How do we kill our own stealth giver? Because we want it to die. Well, we can play a Molten Encasement down here. You are going to burn out sometime, and then we're going to have to get you back. Shouldn't be too hard. We could fracture our molten encasement so it goes away. That's definitely an option. Bounding Echoes we probably should have already played. Alright, let's play it now. The Bog Flies. No idea what to do with them. Put them in the center. Fracture... Yeah, let's fracture our own molten encasement so that it dies. You've got Burnout. I still want to give you attack because I do believe that we're going to get you back. Alright. Revenge of the Damned could kill the front one if we want that. We could play a Primitive Mold down here, which would get a draft back. The one that we would put down here, even. Let's do that. Get this draft back. We could Echo Transfer that draft, which is not too bad. Your sweep means that it's not going to survive any longer than Spine Chief does, but it does get the Stealth 2. Okay, so what are we doing? This damage should probably go to the boss, if we're doing that at all. We do this, and this. That's pretty nice. Let's do it. I want to give the boss lots of reap. And then I'm thinking about playing the Echo Transfer down here to continue giving the boss more reap. Alright, so the boss has 22 reap and is getting 200 something damage this turn. Pretty nice. And we got rid of most of the boss's lifesteal too. Okay, well... I guess we play you here. We're going to play this one up here. I have less belief that we're going to get you back now, actually. Which means I kind of want to play this draft up there. I guess we will. And we'll play this Wickless Recruitment on... Oh, it removes Burnout. Right, you are going to stay, because we removed Burnout from you. Huzzah! Should have put this one in front of that one. Whoops. Alright. Echo Transfer, we're going to do that on you, since you no longer have Burnout. I wish that we didn't put you there now, so we'd have more stealth, but how much is it really going to matter? I don't know, actually. Probably not much. Oh, it does matter because of your sweep. But luckily we did enough. Alright. I'm going to click end turn and just play. Since we do. But I should be very careful about not having space for my stealth givers. Don't think we want these. Although, do we want Ancient Resonance? Actually, we do want Ancient Resonance. Okay, this is the last spell that we're using that kills all those things. I don't want Votivery. I don't think we care about Memories of the Melted. We just don't care about getting a whole bunch of Ember in one turn. And we already have one Wickless Recruitment, don't think we need another. Okay. I believe I want to go both directions. We're going to go this direction next time. So that means we don't have to go to the Merchant of Steel this time. Let's do the Merchant of Magic this time. Merchant of Magic has a Freeze Stone. Pretty good on Crushing Demise. Yeah, we might put that on Crushing Demise. Twin Stone and Purge Stone? We're going to do the Engage back. In fact, we know exactly what we're going to do for that. Let's do that now. We're going to sacrifice this one to that one. I guess there's no reason not to do the Concealed Caverns first. Just for some reason I didn't think of something that would change that plan. So this one allows us to purge a unit. This one allows us to purge a spell. I think we want to purge a Bogfly. So let's purge a Bogfly. I would love to purge Bog Deep Cocoon, except then we wouldn't Divinity Master it. Which is why we have it in the first place. Alright. So now we can choose to do this. Sacrifice a Molten Encasement to a Molten Encasement. Now we get one every turn that gives Stealth 4. That's really nice. We just have to draw it fast enough in the battle. And then let's do the artifact next. Extinguish abilities trigger an additional time. Oh. So you are now going to give 8 stealth every time you die. That basically takes care of bosses. Yeah. Alright. Bosses are basically taken care of. I don't want the Surge Stone. I do want the Ember Stone. And let's take a Freeze Stone. Freeze Stone on Crushing Demise makes a lot of sense. It also goes on other things quite well. But I think we put it on Crushing Demise. Emberstone, we really want these Emberstones. I want it on Ancient Resonance. I guess I don't want it on anything else that much, so we're going to put it on Ancient Resonance. Only because I didn't want it on other things as much. Okay, Archus Darkness Incarnate. The Blinding Dark Shard is really annoying because of my Stealth Givers, but otherwise, I think we're kind of fine. The Looming Dark Shard is usually bad, but we can kind of avoid triggering it. So, we play the Spine Chief at the first turn at the bottom. We play the Keeper of Echoes at the first turn at the top. And then we play a Primitive Mold so that all of those die. And we play a Fracture on the boss. Okay. We have an Echo Transfer, which is excellent. We have you, which we're now going to play every turn. Huzzah. We should have played a Bounding Echoes. We can now. I want to play that up here. And then we want to play the Echo Transfer up here. And we have Ancient Resonance. That's kind of best at the bottom. I mean, we could remove a Spell Shield. It doesn't really do anything at the bottom except remove your Spell Shield. Well, it gives them more reach, I guess. I'm going to do it at the top to get rid of a Spell Shield on the boss. So this Crushing Demise could be played in the center right now, if we desire. We are going to continue giving stealth. Wonderful. Alright. Echo Transfer we will play at the top. You, I think we do Crushing Demise you. What do we have in our consume pile? Nothing. Alright. Crushing Demise, we play here. You are kind of the same problem, but you're going to have, you know, we're going to have more stuff up here when you get up there. So Wickless Recruitment could remove debuff effects which aren't there. So yeah, I think we just play 2 cards just to give more reach. champion has 14 stealth. We sort of want you to get to the top so that we can play this one at the top. This is the lesser of the two? Is that true? No, this is the greater of the two. We want that one to go at the top. You're going to get burnout 4 up here, and unfortunately we don't have something to play in front to get the burnout instead that would die. We're going to give you the Echo Transfer, and then this goes at the bottom again so it can die again. We don't really want to play Fractures at the bottom because of a Looming Dark Shard, so let's play one at the top. Okay, well, that was fun. I don't like that those bottom two didn't get much reap. We do have you, which doesn't quite kill this one, but gets pretty close. We don't need to play this one at the bottom. I want to play it at the top now. And then we'll play this Bogfly at the bottom. It at least doesn't die. And then this Bogfly we could play in the center if we wanted it to die, or we could play it at the bottom so that it dies after this one. I don't know. Let's play the Echo Transfer on you again. And then I'm thinking about playing this one. It does 76 damage, which doesn't quite kill you, so we don't get the Slay trigger. But do we need the Slay trigger? And if so, why? On the other hand, if we play a Fracture down here, then we kill this one. Man, I wish I had more Ember this turn. Oh well. What happens at the top with these two? So, you two easily kill this one, but this one's not dying. Alright, I think we're gonna have to do this right now. And that way it will die at the top. We could play the Bogfly to let it die. I don't know if I want that. I guess I will. No, because we want this other one. Alright, the Bogfly is just going to die here, just to get it out of the deck. I know that it's dazed. We don't care. It was never going to deal any damage anyway. Alright, we get to play another Molten Encasement at the top, which is excellent. Now all of those die. We don't want to play spells up here, so we won't. We will play a draft down here. I guess we want a draft down here. Unless we're just not... Unless we're playing a Molten Encasement down there sometime. I mean, maybe we play the draft here, let this one die, and keep the draft around. Echo Transfer, we don't want to play at the top this turn, so we'll play it at the bottom. And then... Revenge of the Damned is probably the best thing that we could do. We could kill this one in the center, not quite. Alright, well... That's annoying. We can kill it not quite. Or we could kill the back one. And then we would kill both of these no problem. Alright, whatever. So if we play this one at the bottom, we will dazed our units. So we're not going to do that. We'll play it at the top again. You will have to bring back, maybe? Which means it would be good for us to play a Primitive Mold this turn and not play the other thing that we'd get back. We'd prefer to get primitive molds before Wickless recruitment so we could play this again and then remove its burnout. That's what we really want. And I don't know if we're going to get it. I don't really care about you. So the only thing to think about is where we're playing our Echo Transfer. I guess we're going to play it... I think I'm going to play it on this one this time, just to be confident that we're going to have one that survives. And then let's play the Fracture on the boss. And let's play a primitive mold at the bottom. Everything's okay at the top? Yes. And then this Bogfly we're going to choose not to play. I guess we could play it in the back down here. But then we wouldn't get to play our... Yeah, let's just not play it. We don't actually want the Bogflies. Remember that. We'd prefer if they weren't there. Okay, final wave. We get a primitive mold. We have a 50-50 chance to get the draft that we want. So let's play the primitive mold. We're going to play it down here. We did not get the draft that we wanted. Darn. This is the turn that we have Wickless recruitment. Alright, well, in that case, we're just going to play this Molten Encasement at the bottom, so we get it again. Actually, maybe we should play it at the top, because we still get it again up there, too. And we could play the Bogfly at the top. Yeah, let's play the Bogfly at the top, and then we'll play it in front of you, even. Not that that matters, because you've got 21 stealth. We'll play the Molten Encasement at the top. And then we are playing the Wickless recruitment on you, so that you don't have burnout. Okay. Now, we're playing Fracture at the bottom, for sure. The Revenge of the Damned we could play in the center if we cared, and we don't. So we'll play it here to deal a little bit of damage to you. And then we'll play an Echo Transfer somewhere. Which is going to be at the top. On our 21 stealth guy. You know, a lot of stealth and a 15 attack unit is just not very impressive. Alright, we get to play this again because we let things get to the top. Which is kind of why we let things get to the top. We could play a primitive mold, which we definitely will. We'll play that up here. We'll play the Spine Chief again with Burnout 4. Alright. Which means we can do a Fracture here to give you more Burnout, or more whatever it is, Reap. And then the Echo Transfer, of course, we do up here. Alright. Now, the boss still has a lot of life, but I have a lot of stealth. Like, a lot of stealth. And a lot of attack. And the boss has a lot of reach. And our guys are strong. So I think we're winning. Alright. Sacrificial Resurrection is a way to get rid of cards during the battle. How much do I want that? I think I don't. Do I want Wax and Spike? The problem with it is that it consumes. Yeah, the problem is that it consumes, so we can't keep playing it to make sure that we add more and more burnout to our units. I think we might not want any of these. I mean, I want the Wax and Spike, but I want to not hit my main guys with that. I want to just hit the drafts, you know? And it doesn't really give you the option to target your units. It's just that if we got it, and we got wickless recruitment often enough, then it doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't know if I actually want Wax and Spike. Let's not worry about it. Okay, we definitely want to draw more cards because we want to get to our cards faster. Now, we're going this way. We don't have a lot of money, but we can get more if we need it. Let's do the upgrade to our champion first. Reap 6? Alright. I'll take it. Merchant of Steel has a Frenzy Stone, which we definitely want. I would love to have that on the Keeper of Echoes, too. Because the Keeper of Echoes is likely to stay, whereas the other ones are not so likely. And that means that I would be happy to add attack to my Keeper of Echoes rather than just the drafts. I like it. We're going to take that, definitely. Alright. Now that we've done that, let's go to the Concealed Caverns and see, maybe we get another unit upgrade on that unit. Nope. We don't. Alright. One Horn's Tome we do not want because we don't want Fragile. I mean, our guys would have a lot of stealth, but the first time there's somebody that has spikes, it would be bad for us. Unnamed Tome has Permafrost, which is nice. We apply silence to enemy units, which could be quite good. And then Wurmkin etchings, we just get back consume cards, which means Bounding Echoes. Do we want Unnamed Tome? It's really nice. It's just that you have to draw it. And that might make our start slower. I think that's fine. We just don't want to get 30 cards, honestly. If we get to 30 cards, we have too many. So, do we add a Strength Stone to this draft? I think we do. Alright, and we've beefed up all of our units as much as I want. I don't really care for a Battle Stone on the Molten Encasement, I don't think. I'd rather it definitely die every time. So, next ring, we're going to get that, which gives us the 100 pack shards that we need. And we're going to see if we can afford anything in the Merchant of Trinkets. Probably no. We'll find out. Heaven's Seal seems terrible when you're using Reap as a main effect. Alright. Terrible. Heaven's Seal is a bad idea, don't do it. So, Spine Chief definitely goes at the bottom. It's going to take a lot of damage, but it does have a lot of life. So, you know, that's what happens. Keeper of Echoes goes at the top. And then we can play a Fracture. We kind of want to Fracture you. You give Reap 6 to enemy units, so they would have Reap 9, which is still not enough to kill them. I don't know what we're going to be able to do against you. But I definitely want this one to die, and the only way that's going to die is if we draw something that kills it, or we give it enough Fracture. Otherwise, we just want to add Reap to this one, because that's the one that is particularly painful here. We just really want the back one to die, is the thing. Alright, well, it has 6 Reap, so it will die eventually. We got 42 damage on our champion on the first turn. Okay, we have Crushing Demise, which we're almost definitely playing in the center, unless I can think of other things to do with our very limited resources. You know, we're going to play the Molten Encasement here. We are going to play Crushing Demise in the center because we really want that one to die. We're not guaranteed for it to hit it, but still, we really want it to die. Oh, our aim was true. Alright. Wickless Recruitment we could play at the bottom or the top. I want to do both. Let's make sure that these guys have more reach. Alright, so now that the back one is dying, how much do I want to just make you better? I want to make you better. Alright, so you don't do any damage to the pyre, and you're dying from Reap already. I want my guy up here to have a ridiculous amount of stealth. So we're going to do that, and we're definitely going to play the better draft up here, which, at this point, which one do I consider better? With a whole lot of stealth, probably this one. And then I want to play the Echo Transfer up here. I would like to play a draft down here, but I think it's not as important as playing a Fracture down here, because that kills all of these. Well, not the big one, I guess. We'll have to get back to that draft. We do have limited Ember, and the limited Ember is annoying. So, there's something that can kill the Molten Encasement. Let's put the Molten Encasement up here. Bounding Echoes, let's play that here because I want all of those back ones to die. And then, do we want a Bogfly at the bottom? We kind of don't want the Bogfly anywhere. But I also don't want it to die, because then it's in my dead pile, and we might get it back when we want to get back something else. But what else would we want to get back? The drafts. Only the drafts. We've got 5 primitive molds. I think I'm going to play the Bogfly and have it die. Alright. Echo Transfer, we play that at the top. I guess I'm going to play that on the one that I'm guaranteed will not burn out. And then a Fracture. We could play that here. Or we could just make everything at the top better. Which I kind of like making everything at the top really good. A Brief Respite. We're already at the Brief Respite? Oh my. Well, Molten Encasement can go at the top yet again. The Echo Transfer can go at the top yet again. We don't have our Wickless Recruitment to remove your burnout. How sad. Alright. We'll not spend too many resources on you then. Crushing Demise. We are not going to get another chance to play it unless we play it in the center right now, so we'll do that. Actually, there's no reason for you not to get to the top. Let's just play Fractures so we make our guys better. Okay. Now, it would be very nice to kill that back one. We can, with Revenge of the Damned. We could put you at the top. Ooh, we got Wickless Recruitment. Huzzah! Alright. Do I want you to put you at the top or the bottom? I mean, the bottom does nothing for me. So, I'm going to put you at the top. At least you still die up there. And then we'll play the Wickless Recruitment on you. Excellent. Now you don't burn out. And then we're going to do the rest of the things at the bottom. Except for Echo Transfer, I guess. So you die. And then we're going to Fracture the boss. I guess we silence the boss, because who else are we going to silence? The boss is now silenced. Whatever that does for us. Alright. And then Echo Transfer we're going to put on the back one now that we know that it stays. Okay. We have 28 stealth on our top units, so I think they can take out the boss. Because the boss doesn't get to hit them. I can even play this here if I want this turn. I mean, we're going to play a primitive mold, right? So if we play a primitive mold here, and we get back a bogfly, we could play the molten encasement, the draft, and the bogfly. Sure. Molten encasement. Actually, you kill all of them on the first hit, right? Not quite, because you've got 9 health and you've got 30. And we want to put you in the back. So, actually, the draft survives to deal damage. Alright. And then we can play the Echo Transfer at the top. Alright, 950 damage. I mean, with 27 stealth, I think we get through that. But I'm going to play this Molten Encasement just to be sure. Our wax is sharp. I don't know if wax is typically sharp. But sure. I don't want another Revenge of the Damned. I don't want Forgotten Trade. I don't want Soul Cripple. Excellent, let's skip. Memento Mori only hits the front one, so I don't really want it. The Mortal Entrapment isn't bad as the thing. I think we're gonna skip. Just to keep our deck smaller and get the things that we need more often. Okay, if we go to a Hellvent, what would we duplicate? We could duplicate Crushing Demise. We could duplicate the Molten Encasement. Don't think we need actually 2 of them. I think we're good with just the one. I think we would duplicate Crushing Demise if we duplicated. And there's no reason to go to the... There's not a good reason to go to the Merchant of Steel, but there is a good reason to go to the Unstable Vortex. If we go this way, we get some more gold, which might matter because we might be able to pick up one of those. But then we don't get to remove 2 cards. So do I want a Crushing Demise, remove 2 cards? Or do I want the chance of buying stones for spells, or 1 trinket? Oh, that's a hard one. I think we're gonna go to the left. Which probably means that we can't afford a trinket. Yep, can't afford a trinket. How very sad. Although, to be fair, these are not the ones that I would have wanted anyway. So, actually, that's not what I would have wanted. I would have spent it here, which could be very good. We have no idea. I guess let's get the Divine Horde first. Speedstone. None of these are going to be worthwhile. On our Molten Encasement, right? So, Divine Horde gives me... This is completely pointless at this point in the game. Split Anvil affects nothing because all my spells cost 1 or 0. And Refracting Lens does something more than that. But the skip for the money, what does that accomplish? Nothing. So Refracting Lens at least gives me 10 health. Alright, that was a pretty sad set of choices. We're going to purge cards. We're going to purge 4 cards, and we're going to duplicate the Crushing Demise. Duplicate Crushing Demise, purge 4 cards. Because we're purging 4, I'm going to look at this and try to figure out what in the world do we want to purge. We can't purge the Void Deep Cocoon. we do want to purge a bogfly. So a bogfly goes. We want to purge some of these starter cards, especially Primitive Mold. So there's going to be a Primitive Mold and a Fracture and probably another Primitive Mold. We just don't need the Primitive Molds, except for the drafts. And we won't really need them for the drafts if they... Yeah, so I think we're going to remove a couple of Primitive Molds, maybe 3, and just keep the Fractures. Maybe. And then a Bogfly. Okay, that's the plan. Let's execute the plan. Remove the Bogfly. Remove Primitive Mold. And then we go in here, we remove another Primitive Mold. And finally, we remove one more Primitive Mold. Alright, we've got a 24 card deck, and we're going into the final gauntlet. Seraph the Chaste is a problem because Seraph the Chaste gets rid of stealth and reap. Seraph the Chaste might be harder than the Last Divinity in this one. Yeah, could be bad. We get a lot of stealth, so it might still not be bad, but it's gonna be not great. I sort of want to lead with Crushing Demise, but it might just kill... It might not kill the front one. And then what have we accomplished? Well, I mean... Killing one of these is fine. We're gonna kill them anyway. And what else are we gonna do that does something? Alright, Crushing Demise. Sure. And then Spine Chief with the Molten Encasement, which we got on the first turn. How nice. And then we could Fracture this one and kill it. We're going to Primitive Mold down here because it actually does something down here. And then I think we Fracture this one, just because we're not going to be that strong at the beginning. Alright. Alright, that top one is annoying to me because it does 15 damage. Alright, you are not so bad. We have the Molten Encasement, though. Right. And we could play that first, so that we don't get Ember Drain on you, which is nice. We could play Crushing Demise on you if we felt like we needed to. I no longer feel like we need to. Bounding Echoes we play at the bottom. So we could silence enemy units, which would take away that, which is not important. It would have taken away that, which could have been important maybe. So Bounding Echoes down here. We're now dealing some damage to the bots. And I guess we play Echo Transfer on our Keeper of Echoes, because he keeps the Echoes. That's where you play the Echo Transfer. Alright. Our bottom guy has 2 more stealth, remember that. You're not dying currently, but I think we can easily change that. Molten Encasement plus Draft easily changes that. And then we're guaranteed to draw Wickless Recruitment next turn, so I'm going to play the Echo Transfer on the Draft this time. Now, how bad are you? 210. We're dealing 160, basically. I mean, I would like to kill you. It's just, I would also like to deal damage to things at the bottom. And you honestly don't deal that much damage to my Pyre when all is said and done, so I'm not going to worry about you. Instead, I'm going to play a Fracture down here options here. You had 6 Reap, so you're going to die after I play this. I'm going to play a Fracture on this one. And then we're done for this turn. I really wish we got some artifact that gave me more Ember somehow, because that would have been helpful. Alright, our bottom one is running out of stealth. And you came here. We could remove the Ember Drain. And this might be the best turn to do that. So let's play Molten Encasement here. Here's the Molten Encasement. Here is Unnamed Tome to remove Ember Drain, which would have affected you. We've got Wickless Recruitment to play at the top. We have Echo Transfer to play at the top. 194. You're going to deal some damage to my Pyre, but not a whole lot. We could play this draft at the bottom this turn, which would be a fine time to play it. Sure. And then we could kill one of these in the center. I think we should, rather than fracturing the boss more. I do want to fracture the boss more, but we have Crushing Demises in our deck for a reason. Okay, so you're going to deal 12? No, only 6 to my fire. Great. So, you guys are stealthy now. Now we want to increase your stealth by a lot. And continue doing the Echo Transfer. Echo Transfer on you. How much am I worried about the center too? Because I'm getting to the point where I'm doing well at killing things. At the bottom... Ooh, at the bottom we can play this Wickless Recruitment. Huzzah. And then... Fracture? I do want to fracture things at the bottom, you know? And then let's play the Crushing Demise in the middle. Just to be safe. Now, we play this at the top, and we play this at the top. That's kind of what we do every turn, which is why we've got 2 Ember to spend every turn. Alright, there's nothing to get back with Primitive Mold right now, and there won't be probably until the end. Okay. So what do we do? Revenge of the Damned we don't need right now, which is nice, but we could play it in the center to kill this one. But we don't need to. Yeah, we don't need to. Alright, don't kill things that you don't need to kill. I think what that means is I'm going to play Primitive Mold at the bottom, just to do... Actually, if we're going to do that at the bottom... No. Let's play Primitive Mold, because that kills the back one. Then we're going to play a Fracture on the boss at the top. Alright. So, we need to bring back stealth at the bottom. We will do that right now. That also gives a whole bunch of that. We are going to play the Echo Transfer right here. And we've got 2. We could play Ancient Resonance to deal some damage. We should be killing you guys easily, right? Yes, we do. Primitive Mold we're going to play at the bottom, for the Reap on the boss. Do we play Fracture at the bottom for the Reap on the boss? I think we do. And then Crushing Demise is no longer valuable, so let's not play it. We'll just keep it in the hand. We'll play Ancient Resonance here to deal damage. Okay. Now, we're at the Relentless phase. We need to play this every turn at the top, so we increase your stealth. You guys will take care of everything going up. Also, of course, we play Echo Transfer. We can play a Revenge of the Damned anywhere we want. Don't know if I see the point. The Primitive Mold we're playing at the bottom to add more Reap. We could play a Fracture to add more Reap. And we could play an Ancient Resonance or a Revenge of the Damned. Ancient Resonance does 30 damage. Revenge of the Damned gives us an additional one of these, kills this one off so we don't spend an attack on it. That does another 20 to the boss. Yeah, sure. Let's do this. Alright. I think we're good. We took a long time to get through the first few, but the ones at the bottom aren't really to deal much damage to Seraph. They are there to take away the lifesteal, however. We did not get a Primitive Mold this turn, which is kind of sad, because I wanted to get back my champion, maybe. Alright, in that case we're going to play the Molten Encasement at the top. We're going to play Echo Transfer at the top. We're going to play Revenge of the Damned, not at the top. Alright. Revenge of the Damned here. And then... do we play a Fracture at the top? I mean, it does a lot at the top, actually. So yeah, just to beef up my own guys, it does a lot. Don't play the Crushing Demise. The only way to lose this battle at this point is to play Crushing Demise. So we will not. We'll play a Molten Encasement, though, because 26 stealth in our back one is just not enough. Alright. You know, getting our Molten Encasement on the first turn is really nice. If that happens again, we'll find out. We did get the Molten Encasement on the first turn. Alright. So, what we do is we play Spine Chief at the bottom. We play the Molten Encasement at the bottom to give the Spine Chief some stealth. We're going to play the Keeper of Echoes at the top. It is going to get hit this first turn, to be fair. And then... Bounding Echoes at the bottom to give you guys more Reap, I guess? Sure. Now we do have Ember Drain this turn, which is very sad. The Ember Drain has been one of the problems. So Molten Encasement goes up here. This draft we would really like to go somewhere. We could put it at the top, because... ooh. Yeah, we should put it at the top. Even though you're going to take 10 damage this time, you'll start getting stealth now, which is very useful. At the bottom we could blow the Unnamed Tome in order to kill the back ones, which might be worth it, because how are we going to deal with those back ones if we don't deal with them now? What could Unnamed Tome do to me? Not that much. Or, you know, I should be asking, what could the triggered effects from enemies do? And I think it's not going to be much. So we're going to play it now. We're going to get rid of it, just so that we can reap on those back ones. Alright, we've got a couple Crushing Demises. We're gonna play the Molten Encasement up here. Again. You are surviving. You only deal 5 damage, so should I care? I'm not sure. We could just play the Ancient Resonance at the top, I guess. At the bottom we want to play something, like Primitive Mold. And then we might want to also play a Fracture at the bottom. In the middle, we could play one of the Crushing Demises. I think I'm going to let this one get to the top, because I want to be able to kill things in the middle. Specifically that back one, right? I mean, we can hope. I don't like you surviving, because you might kill my draft. Ick. Alright, who else is getting it? You're getting Fracture, because we want you to die as quickly as we can. I'm going to use another Crushing Demise next turn, I think. Okay, that draft is set to die next turn, unless we play something up there that helps. So we need to play something up there that helps. I mean, the Wickless Recruitment helps. Alright. It helps because it's infused. By the way, not because it gets rid of the burnout. That's helpful too, but not, you know, right now. So you deal a little bit of damage to the pyre. I don't think that matters. I really, really need... Oh no. Maybe we should have played this at the bottom this turn, so we could play this draft. Maybe so. I'm gonna play this. We need this one to die, so that we can play a Crushing Demise on you next turn, which means I'm not caring about a Crushing Demise right now, this turn? I guess so. So, Primitive Mold. And then we play a Fracture. Things are okay at the bottom. We don't even need to play it on you, right? Because you'll get another 6 Reap? Yeah, alright. We're planning to play this Crushing Demise next turn. There is a chance that we'll draw another Crushing Demise, which means maybe we shouldn't have played it. Maybe we should have played this one in the center. But we can't guarantee. So we're just going to play this on the boss. And then we're going to play a Fracture. You're dealing very little to the pyre, but if we Fracture you, we also make our guys better, which is a thing. Or we could Fracture one of these. I think I'm going to Fracture you to make our guys better. Okay. Alright, we need our draft back there not to die. And that means that it needs to not encounter spikes too much. Alright. First one first. We are playing a Molten Encasement. We are playing a Crushing Demise in the center. Good. We're playing an Echo Transfer. Do we want to spread it out a little bit? Maybe so, because if you deal more damage to a front one, you might be able to kill a front one, which means we might deal more damage to back ones. Maybe we should do that. Spread it out a little bit. Alright, you guys are set to deal a lot of damage to my pyre, which I definitely do not like. I feel like we still have to play a Fracture down here so that those die. Because if we don't play the Fracture now, what are we going to do? If we do that, you are going to have 12 attack, and you will have 105 health. So each of you will do 33 damage to the pyre. Each of you does 33 damage. Wow, that hurts. But I think we've got to take it. How sad. Alright. If only we had more Ember, we would not have this problem. I said 33, I meant 36. They each did 36 to the fire. That was the number I meant to say. Okay, so I want to continue playing things up here. So let's continue doing that. We want the back one to have more attack. We want to play Crushing Demise in the center again. Yeah, alright. Crushing Demise in the center again. And then we could play Revenge of the Damned down here. That would kill the back one, but is that better than just playing Fracture on a different one? I don't think it is. Yeah, let's play Fracture on a different one. And by different one, I mean the one that's likely to deal the most damage to the pyre. Alright, I do not like how many of them are moving up. I really don't like that. Let's see how it goes. We are making my top stronger and stronger every turn. Okay, we need a Crushing Demise for you. We need to have you die. We aren't guaranteed to draw a Crushing Demise while all of these are going up. Oh no. Alright, well, we know we're playing the Molten Encasement. Do we play the Molten Encasement at the bottom? I mean, we are going to sometime, so maybe we do it now, because that's a different way to give you Reap. And that way we can spend more elsewhere. So I'm going to play Echo Transfer on you. I'm going to play a Crushing Demise. We can't. We can't play a Crushing Demise unless we can kill this one a different way. Which... how do we kill it a different way, exactly? Right. We need the Crushing Demise for this one. I really want to play a Crushing Demise here, because they're probably set to kill me at this point. As we are right now. We could play the Ancient Resonance, but they have Spell Shield, so that just takes away the Spell Shield. I think we've got to use a Crushing Demise in the center. And that means that you are very problematic. Do I also play a Fracture in the center? I think I do. Alright, well... let's really hope to draw a Crushing Demise next turn. There's a good chance that we do. It's just that it's not a extreme, like, it's not a guaranteed chance by any means. We did not. We did not, and that was bad. Alright. Especially because you have 5 spikes, too. Okay, so one of the things that we're doing is we're playing this here. We're playing this here. I want to play the Wickless Recruitment on it as well. I guess I will. And then we absolutely have to play things at the top. So, Echo Transfer first. You have 600 health. We're gonna get a Crushing Demise next turn, but I don't know if I can afford to have one of these die. Especially because we don't... oh, we have a Primitive Mold next turn. Maybe we could, but then they wouldn't have the stealth that we have. But if that's what we need to do to survive, we might do it. Okay, I am very concerned. Very concerned. Alright. You are going to attack the pyre once. That's 12 damage. Having 2 crushing demises in the deck was somehow not enough. Alright. Well, we're dealing you 334 damage as it exists right now. Let's play the Molten Encasement. We have to play Crushing Demise. Let's hope it kills the Molten Encasement. It did! We were so lucky. We were so lucky. Oh my. Oh my. Luck is just coming out of my pores. And it's very welcome. Alright. Primitive Mold we play down here. And we're playing a Fracture on the big one, I guess? Alright. So, we are winning already. How about that? Alright, let's go. I mean, we're winning already. It's the last possible turn to win, so I shouldn't say already. I feel like even crushing Demise killing one of my guys, we would have been fine. Yeah, okay. So we were fine, actually. I was just overly worried about it. 79 damage taken, that was real scary. Alright, we mastered another card. There is exactly 1 card left to Divinity Master in the game. Let's see it. Bog Deep Cocoon mastered. Alright. Stealth applied 560. I got a new crown. There's 1 card left to Divinity Master. It's that one right there. Glugsider, as it's called. And we totally crushed our previous best for stealth applied. Nice. Alright, that was a good run. And it did get a little bit tense at the end, but apparently I was going to win. Even if the worst happened on that one turn. Alright. Since this run was a victory, although a close one, I earned a new crown. The Wurmkin have 8 of their 10 crowns. My clan artifact goal at the bottom stays at 5 artifacts remaining, and I'm happy to say, looking to the right, I have Divinity Mastered 1 more card, the Bog Deep Cocoon, leaving exactly 1 card left to master, the Glugsider. On the left, Wickless Recruitment I took in order to try it out more, and it did do its part in this deck, as well as reach my 10 battle threshold. It essentially made drafts more usable. Echo Transfer becomes the 47th card to reach my 100 battle threshold, and this one is definitely one I prioritize in many decks. As long as you can produce the Echoes, this card is a fantastic way to buff up minions. I especially like taking it when the one offered is infused. For artifacts, Decayed Decoy fit very well with my strategy of using Reap to take out enemies, as it just added more. But this plan of using Reap probably wouldn't have been nearly as possible without Dun Echo, which I had from the very beginning and essentially guaranteed that almost every card I take would be infused. Check out my tracking sheet, linked in the video description. The last episode of this series will be next Saturday, and thanks for watching.